said.
You know what? I saw it, and because it didn't say
Guys,
Coach
I'm
Tube
letting
on the
people in.
title, I
I'm
didn't
letting people
look
in.
at it.
So
Cool.
All right.
Is it on New York
keep
Times?
your conversation, but people will hear you. And Johnny's gonna hop on, and he said less than 20 seconds. So hopefully he'll pop up, and then he'll get it started.
Hello, everybody. Johnny and Felicia here. We are excited about our next session for a Step Up Live, featuring some of the best video coordinators in the game. I'm excited about Jacob, Ryan, and Josh. Yesterday was a huge success. We started by saying, let's win the week, and we definitely won the day on Monday, and Tuesday will be no different than that. I think that it was legendary coach at Notre Dame, Lou Holtz, who said that you're only as good as the people around you. And these guys help to accelerate and elevate the success of their program by sharing their expertise with the coach, with the staff, and with the players. And we are excited to have them join us Step Up Live today.
We're excited about Step Up Live today in our Power Talks. Man, it's only been one day, Felicia, but it seems like it's been a phenomenal day.
It has been.
Yes.
Why don't we tell them a little bit about what a Step Up is? So if there are people on now and you've never heard of a Step Up had started in 2009 with professional development symposiums for college basketball coaches and anybody who thought that they wanted to be considered one of the best in the business. Our mission statement is to educate, connect, equip, and inspire current and future generations of coaches.
So after we started about 11 years ago, we've evolved to have several different components. One component that Step Up, that's for anybody. I know some people mistake it for just being for new coaches, but it's for anyone that wants to be good in their position right there where they are. And we bring in some of the best speakers, the best talent around the nation to help develop that skill set. But we also know that there's some coaches out there that have been coaching maybe 7 years or more that really desire to move to the next level. And they're almost ready, or they're ready to get there. So we have a unique and special program that we bring in from there. And
it's called Next Level. And last year we keep the class small so that there is intimate interaction and engagement with senior level administrators, directors of athletics, as well as deputy athletic directors and senior women administrators who are in the role to hire new men or women's basketball coaches. Last year, we had almost 20 athletic administrators and 5 executive search firms.
And from that, we started actually at the beginning where we were working with coaches, we were working with teams, helping them gain synergy, and some new coaches getting their jobs. And we realized, and they realized, that they needed more, similar to an executive MBA, but around basketball. So in that, we started the Head Coaches Executive Leadership Academy.
And what we like about that is we do it like it's a cohort, like if you were to attend an executive MBA sort of program. I had attended one at the University of Virginia, the Darden School of Business, and we had a very small class of about 25 to 30. Well, we have a maximum class of 40 that will go through kind of a cohort sort of experience, and where coaches have an opportunity to lean on each other and glean from one another, as well as hear from leadership experts. So it's not the normal typical coaches clinic. This is executive leadership development. And part of that is necessary because coaches are like CEOs. You all are leading and managing a group of people and attempting to create a shared vision and culture of success. So that's kind of a bit of what the Step Up brand is all about. We also are a nonprofit 501c3.
One more growth effort that I want to mention is last year we started the Assistant Coaches Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
And we want to make sure that we share our Hall of Famers with you. You can go to our website to get some more information about that.
StepUpInc.org. You'll get to see, we inducted 12 coaches in our class of 2019. Exceptional coaches like Dwayne Stevens from Michigan State, Steve Robinson, North Carolina, Stan Jones from Florida State, and Donnie Daniels from Gonzaga. And then on the women's side at the D1 level, we had Carol Owens from Notre Dame, Amy Tucker from Stanford, Chris Daly from UConn, and Mickey DeMoss, who won several, I think about 8 national championships with Pat Summitt when they were at Tennessee. So great class. We also had Division II and Divisions III were represented as well. So it was a very, it was a very, very special moment for us. So that's kind of it.
With that in mind, how do we get to the Power Talks?
Yeah.
course, we, like everybody else, had to cancel our major event, A Step Up, which was going to be held in Charlotte. And we started brainstorming about how to get in this space.
Yeah.
And so we're going to move on to what this session is about. One of the things that we did with the Step Up, several years, we brought in some of the best directors of basketball ops. We had their own track in that. And we evolved to more of the coaching side. But going into this virtual space gives us a great opportunity to bring some of the best video coordinators to you today in their Power Talk panel.
And I think that their Power Talk panel is entitled The Game Within the Game. How do you win the game within the game? And when we started talking, one of the things that our logistics team was saying is that, you know, those video coordinators really do give their programs the edge. And we've had a chance to see that up close and personal from some of the programs we work with. Hudson at the University of South Carolina has been exceptional, so much so I know that Don's added him to her USA basketball staff. And the three guys that we're bringing to you today are three of the best in the business. And we're excited to allow them to have a platform to talk a little bit about kind of how what they do brings an edge to their program and their ability to be successful.
So with that said, I'll introduce the panel, and we'll give it to these guys and let them take it away. So,
oh, Johnny, if you hear anything good, make sure you tweet it out. And our hashtag is hashtag A Step Up Power Talks. Hashtag A Step Up Power Talks. This is one of several sessions. We hope that you'll come back and take in the other sessions. This is free today, but if you want to have the ability to listen to any of the sessions, all you have to do is go to the coaches to, I think it's A Step Up Clinics, A Step Up.Coaches Clinics to get your all access pass, and you can watch any of the sessions as well as go back and get unlimited playbacks for the next year. So I just have to put that in because you're going to want to recapture what's going to be said today.
good. So let's get to our panelists today.
Okay.
So first off, we have Jacob Emmerman from the University of Central Florida. Jacob has worked with the UCF men's basketball program since 2014. He was named the Knights video coordinator April 2016, after he previously served 2 years as a grad assistant. So we're going to welcome Jacob in just a minute. Ryan Nichols from Texas A&M. Ryan joins the athletic department in 2018 as an assistant video coordinator. Ryan is responsible for assisting the video coordinators in all of their tasks that's required to produce the videos, and as well as analysis for the coaches.
Ryan was video coordinator of the year, Johnny. He is the Mac Dad. He is
Elite.
video coordinator of the what? Yeah.
Yep.
No. Yeah.
Yep. And we also have Josh Pierre from Elon. Josh was named to the men's basketball as a video coordinator in the 2019 year. And he joined after serving the 2018 and 19 year at Mississippi State in the same position. While on staff at Mississippi State, the Bulldogs broke a decade-long drought of returning to the Final Four tournament. And they had a record of 23-11.
I don't think Mississippi State went to the Final Four, did they, Johnny?
No, we did.
Went to the Final Four,
Oh,
but
no.
I think that they did do better than they had done
did,
in quite
yeah.
some time. And Josh will tell you a little bit more about the edge behind that.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
So when they come back or come to you, Ryan's is going to facilitate or moderate this panel for our video coordinator. So guys, take it away. We're excited.
Have fun, buckle up.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thanks.
very much. All right. Howdy, everybody. I really appreciate everybody taking time. I really want to thank Felicia and Johnny, and along with all the Step Up board of directors for this. I think this is an unbelievable opportunity for us to come together in these uncertain times and grow our game, whether you're on the men's side or the women's side. And, you know, our goal for this in talking with Josh and Jacob is we just really want you guys to take a few nuggets away from this. If we can get a few of y'all to take something that y'all had never heard before or something that's a little bit of a different perspective and implement that to your program, whether you're a video coordinator or whether you're an assistant coach or a head coach who's looking to take that video department to another level. We just hope that that's kind of what you guys get from this. We're going to hit some specifics. We're also going to kind of go and give you guys a little bit of a macro type look at things. And like I said before, I just hope you guys can get something from it and kind of run with it. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and let Jacob start, and we're just going to kind of take this time to tell a little bit of our story, our path. One of the things that we talked about in getting ready for this is the destination for us right now is the video coordinator position. And we're all here at that same time, but our path is different. So Jacob, why don't you go ahead and start us off, my man?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. So as you can see on the screen, everybody's path is going to be different. That's the fun thing about basketball is there's so many different people from everywhere that's going to be involved. And, you know, in your path, you know, there's going to be people that played the game. There's going to be people that didn't play the game. And that's one thing that you find out along the way is there's so many different routes to reach your destination on getting on staff. And one of the things that, you know, I tried to do was find my niche when I was a grad manager, and that niche happened to be video. You know, I knew there was several different ways to kind of get into staff or just try to get involved as much ways as I can, whether it was, you know, popping my head into the coach's office every day or doing those things. So my niche was video, but obviously you can do player development. There's several different ways as a manager that you can get involved. So my advice would be kind of just find that niche, become an expert in that thing. So when you go to try to find a job to get on staff like I did, you know, it was hard kind of not to take me because I became an expert at the video stuff we did at UCF. So that's kind of how I got on to Coach Dawkins' staff at UCF. I started out at Flagler College as a D2 assistant, was there 1 year, and our head coach at Flagler, Bo Clark, he's actually the all-time leading scorer at UCF. So he helped me get into as a GA with Donnie Jones, who was the UCF head coach at that time. Now he's the head coach at Stetson. And I worked 2 years for them. We had some incredible people on staff. Brendan Surr, who's a legend in college basketball and in the NBA. Sean Finney, who won a national championship at Kentucky. And those people on staff became my mentors, and that's where I absorbed knowledge. From there, you know, that staff sadly got fired at that point as I was graduating, and that's when Coach Dawkins came in and gave me my shot. So there's no one route to get there. There's different angles and different things that can happen, but you know, if you work hard enough and things work out, you know, you get your shot. But I'm gonna pass along to Josh real quick, and you know, I want to hear his take on getting onto staff.
Yeah, my take was, you know, just a little bit different. I grew up around, you know, the game. My dad, you know, is a college basketball coach and has been for a really long time. You know, he coached at LSU when I was growing up. He was associate head coach there for 12 years. Got really fortunate to be around some incredible players and coaches. Head coach was John Brady at the time there. You know, John Treloar was on staff there, who's now with the Hawks in their player development. Chad Dollar, assistant at Georgia. You know, just a bunch of players. Larry Cordero, who was there when I first got there, he's now the head coach at LSUA, and you know, they go to the Final Four every year at their level. And you know, I just got to be around a bunch of really, really good people and really good coaches. My dad left LSU after he was an interim head coach for a little bit. We went to Oklahoma State, and then, you know, got to be around Travis Ford, who's at St. Louis now. And, you know, just got to be around those coaches growing up and being around a lot of really good NBA players, and, you know, just got to see basketball at the highest level for a really long time. And when I went to go to Arkansas State to play for John Brady, whenever he got fired at LSU, he went to Arkansas State. I got to play for him. At first I thought I wanted to, you know, be in administration or be an AD or something like that. But what really changed for me was Coach Brady was great. You know, when you trust someone's dad for 20 years. I mean, they were, at Mississippi State together when my dad was playing. He kind of, believed that I had the same vision as him. So when I was a walk-on, I got to do a lot of scout team stuff and took a lot of pride in knowing, scout team plays and studying other teams' offense. I would bring my scouting report with me to the bench. I knew as, a walk-on, I wasn't going to play as much, but I knew that I could help impact the game in practice. And so I really got to just fall in love with video, fall in love with scouting. I knew that people were always going to think like, oh yeah, like Josh Pierre, that's Butch Pierre's son, he can recruit, and I didn't want that label to be on my shoulders. So I wanted to be able to really just learn about basketball, learn about coaching and being able to scout and just fall in love with video. So Coach Brady let me, go over scouting report, when I was playing, and got to do it based on out of bounds plays my senior year, which was really cool. And I was like, man, I want to do video. That's how I want to get my in. And, it's all about who you work for. You can't get on a staff without working for someone or someone giving you a chance, like Jacob talked about his chance. And, I got to work for Grant McCaslin my GA year. And he came in to take over for Coach Brady at Arkansas State. And I mean, he has set the bar, and I've worked for some awesome coaches who I'll talk about. I work for Coach Mike Schrage now, and Coach Ben Howland and Mike Bellato. But Coach McCaslin gave me a start to be a GA after I took another job. He let me come back, which, the grace and the humility that he has. And, that's why he's won 20 games last 4 years. And that's why they have the success they have. So, everybody's path is different. Like Jacob said, Coach Matt gave me my start and let me be really involved with video as a GA. And, everybody, we'll get into, the different aspects of being a video coordinator at this level. And we'll get into that later. But, it all starts with, whoever gives you a chance. And Coach Grant McCaslin gave me a chance. And then I stayed on with Coach Bellato. The next year I left there to go got to play for a Final Four coach. Now I got to work for one, and Coach Ben Howland, who everybody knows, who has the biggest heart of any, guy, that has this amount of success that he's had. So then I got to come here with Coach Mike Schrage, who I'll talk about probably for the remainder. But a little bit of my story, got to grow up around there. I have a twin brother who coaches at Liberty, and everybody knows their story now. He's the, player development assistant there. And he does a great job. So it's all about who you work for, man. And it's all about the process. And, like we said, the destination, may be the same, but the path's different. And I know Ryan's got an incredible story too. So.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Go ahead and start with a little bit of my background. So I started as a student manager at Texas A&M back in 2006. And I was fortunate enough to work for a great head coach in Billy Gillespie. I was able to learn and gain a lot of experience from him and his staff before he ended up moving on and going to Kentucky. And Mark Turgeon came in from Wichita State and really just picked up where Coach Gillespie had left off. And I can't tell you enough how much I learned from both of those two guys just as a student. And as I go through this and as we go through this, I'm just going to kind of throw little nuggets out there that I hope people can grab onto. So one thing that I quickly learned, everyone likes to be on the floor. Being on the floor is fun. It's high energy. You get to be with basketball, with the game. But one thing that really stood out to me quickly, the way to learn was really to get in the office. Coaches are so busy coaching and doing what they're supposed to do on the floor. They're not really looking to see how this manager's working here. Most of the time they're going to see a manager not working type thing. So really for me, the way that I started to build my experience and understand the value of what I was doing is I would do as much as I could on the floor, but man, I was in the office as much as I could. I was poking my head in. If people needed me to make copies, if people needed me to make a food run, if people needed me to make a phone call, recruiting mail outs, film, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're a manager and you're listening to this or you're looking to get your foot in the door, being on the floor for practice is great, but you can really learn a lot and gain a lot of experience by working in the office and being with that staff. So that was one thing that really stood out to me to start my journey. One thing I noticed was networking was so key. Assistant coaches on the men's and women's side, man, those cell phones never leave their hands. They are always on the phone with somebody. Building relationships building trust with others, trying to get information. And so that was something that really opened my eyes. It's, you know, the classic quote of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I really believe that that can get you into certain situations. And, you know, just being in those office situations and understanding the power of networking, I kind of created my own theory on it. And, you know, building relationships and quality relationships first, the quantity will follow after that. And I think that is just a big, powerful key for networking, is to really hone in on a quality of relationships. And then as you continue to grow through your process of being a professional, the quantity will follow. So started off as a manager, worked for Coach Gillespie and Coach Turgeon, learned a lot. Was very fortunate through networking to get internships in the summers with the Utah Jazz in their front office. Had an unbelievable experience working for Jerry Sloan. He's an incredible man, more than he is even an incredible coach. And, you know, video was really what was able, the networking and the video aspect was really what was able to get me into that internship. Continuing down the path, I was able to get my first full-time job with Syracuse women's basketball and Coach Quentin Hillsman. Had an unbelievable experience there. You know, we were part of some unprecedented times in the program, and it was just an unbelievable experience again for me to finally take everything I've learned from my past, whether that was in the NBA or whether that was as a student manager at Texas A&M. I was able to build my own video program, if you will. And, you know, we had a lot of great, great times there, a lot of wins. And, you know, everything I learned from there, I took to then now taking my job here at Texas A&M, being able to come back to my alma mater to work for a Hall of Fame coach in Gary Blair was just something that I couldn't pass up. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, back here at Texas A&M. And that's kind of my story.
Sweet.
So as we kind of get a little bit more into some specifics here, I'm going to have Josh go ahead and hop on here, and we're going to talk just some attributes as we began to prepare for this and try to figure out which avenues we wanted to touch on. Josh had some really good thoughts in this avenue. So I'm gonna open it up and let you go from there.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a couple of things here that I wrote that I don't want to miss. So if you guys see me looking down, I'm taking a quick peek. But, you know, as I got to get done playing and navigate through the GA life and the video coordinator world, you know, I think that the first thing that we all decided, you know, with our job is what head coaches look for the most. And as you, not just once they look for when in the hiring process or when they're trying to get you to come on as a GA or as a video person, but that ramps up as you get there, as you work for that coach, especially for my coach now and Coach Howland and, you know, Coach McCaslin, those people. Attention to detail is probably the most important aspect that you can control being a video coordinator. And I think that, you know, it's hard for some people, you know, they want to, whenever they get to the office, that's whenever they want to be the most organized. And I think that, you know, if you just try to do it at the office, you're going to set yourself up for a failure if it's not a lifestyle that you live. Because attention to detail is what a video coordinator is all about, no matter what you're doing. Because there's different aspects that, you know, I'll talk about in a second that are involved with being a video coordinator. But if you're home or if your car or if your bathroom, like, you know, we're all home now during these unprecedented times, and in your kitchen and all these different things, like if you being organized isn't a part of who you are, I think you're going to have a hard time trying to just have one aspect of your life, which is being a video coordinator. I think you're going to have a hard time, you know, having that attention to detail at work, because in the life of a video coordinator every day, and, you know, Jacob and Ryan and I talked about this, you know, we've been talking about it for a while, is every day is a game day. Like every single day is a game day, because, you know, the players go out and play on, depending on what league you're in, go out and play on Monday or Thursday or Saturday, but every day in every aspect. If you think about how a day is lined up, if you have a meeting, anything that goes on this screen, I have my TV right here, anything that goes on this screen is your job. And it's your job for it to be right. It's your job for it to flow. It's your job for it to have all the right spellings. Because if you're in a staff meeting and you have the recruiting board up there, you know, you want your staff to be able to focus and the assistant coaches to be able to focus on, you know, the recruiting and what they're talking about in the plan, not what's up on the screen, or if it's spelled right, or if it's in the right order. You know, even whenever you're in front of the team with film, or like post-game film or practice film, or scouting with the other team, if it's the paper scout or if it's the video scout, especially when the head coach is in the office for official visits or unofficial visits, for the style of play videos or the PowerPoint presentation that you're going through, you know, the attention to detail for how everything is lined up and how everything's organized up to that point, you know, is really important. I think that the head coach trusting you, and that creates a trust between you and the head coach, you know, to have the confidence in you that you're not going to, you know, make any mistakes. And not everyone's perfect. Things are going to be different, but 99% of the time it should be right, because when the head coach or the assistant coach is up there in front of the team, the message that's going to the team and to the players and to the rest of the staff is what's important, because that sets the standard, that sets the culture, the tone, you know, and all those different things that go within the presentation of the team that set the tone for going to practice or set the tone for going into the game, you know, impacts winning. And so while people think, the video guy, they just watch film, everybody that's involved with the program, you know, impacts winning. And I think that's one of the main ways you can impact winning. And I know that these guys got awesome points to say. And I just want to touch on time management just a little bit, because the most, like, what's important for time management as far as, you know, paying attention to detail is if you don't take care of, you know, your mind and your body and your spirit before you go into the office. And Jacob's going to hit on this also, but if you don't take care of those deals before you go in, there's no way that as a video coordinator, your job might as well be servant. Like you're there to serve from 10 or whenever your staff gets in to practice is over. Like you're serving, man. Like you're all out, head down, trying to help this person, trying to help that person, and they need you because they're worried about different other and different things. So if you don't take care of yourself from whatever you do in the morning to get your mind right, to taking care of your body, to be able to be in shape, to be able to stay up, to be able to wake up, you know, that's something that my dad has always tried to instill in us, and my grandpa too, because they're so OCD, as we like to call. But yeah, I think that, you know, attention to detail, and they're going to hit, but time management, you know, you got to take care of yourself first. If you try to be Superman, stay up all night, you know, you don't eat all day, you know, you're not going to be able to be on top of your game. So, yeah, I know that these guys have some pretty good points, especially PhD.
I'll take over on attention to detail, and I think Josh made some really good points. I think the biggest thing for attention to detail is that's a huge part of our culture here at UCF, and that's always been one of Coach Dawkins' big points. And I think as video coordinators, we have to practice what our culture preaches. And what I'm saying is we coach our guys to always touch a line on sprints, go that little extra step. So we need to make sure we take that time and go that extra mile every time, no matter what, whether it's triple checking things, you know, going back, checking the spelling of stuff. We have to make sure everything's perfect, especially because we're setting up stuff for our assistants, for our head coach, and we're an extension of them. So we want to make sure that they're going up there prepared, going up there, and they're not going to have a misspelling on the screen, little stuff like that goes into a championship culture. Like I said, we teach our players perfection every day. So, you know, we need to be perfect as well, because little stuff like that rubs off on our culture and our standards. So with time management, you know, time is so crucial, and especially different times of the year. I'll just hit on kind of in season. You're going into every day with so many different tasks, and in those tasks, new tasks arise. Coach will call you in and ask you to do something totally different than what you expected to do today. And you got to know whatever the head coach wants something done, that becomes priority right away. And So my big thing and my advice is, and what I do is at the end of every day, it's as simple as I make a to-do list, and that kind of mentally locks me in. So the next day when I come in, I know if I need to show up hours early, if I need to show up, at this time, if I need to go home and complete a bunch of stuff so I'm ready for that next day. But I always prepare the following day to attack the next day, if that makes sense. And I'll let Ryan touch on PhD. I'll touch work ethic real quick. And work ethic is something that you have to have a work ethic to do this job. You have to be willing to sacrifice a lot of different things to be a video coordinator. You are leaned upon in a lot of video work, a lot of different things. And if you don't have that work ethic, then it's probably not going to pan out. People on your staff are going to be able to tell that you're not working hard. We're kind of, like I said, we're an extension of our staff. So, all the projects they give us, we need to make sure that we complete those, as fast as possible and efficient as possible. But you have to be an extremely hard worker to do this job. I'll pass along to Ryan.
Thanks, fellas. So I think people can see the screen here and it says PhD. So everyone's thinking that they need to get their master's degree and then go into a doctoral program, but that's not what that means. So if you're a head coach or you're an assistant coach, or even if you're a video coordinator or a GA, this was once told to me that when you come in as a video coordinator, you need to have your PhD. You need to be poor, hungry, and driven. I definitely didn't get into this game for the money aspect. There was a passion that was inside of me that brought me to this game that I enjoy working on. But if you get into this grunt work and you're not poor, hungry, and driven, you're probably not going to last very long. And if you're a head coach and you're interviewing somebody and they're not poor, hungry, and driven, probably not the person that you're going to want for your video coordinator position. And I think that just ties back into what we were talking about with work ethic. A work ethic is absolutely essential in this industry. The amount of hours and time and sacrifice you put in, if you don't have a work ethic, you're going to wash out real quickly. So I think everyone put some great points there. We kind of ping-ponged off each other for this next little part right here. And we're not going to get too specific into what each thing does. And, the skills and traits that you must have. I know at the top of our list, everybody on here probably uses Synergy. It's a great platform to use. If you don't have a background in Synergy and you want to get into video, you're going to need that experience. Sports Code and Exos, they're not the only two out there. I don't want to disrespect anybody who maybe works for other companies, but those are the two main ones that we see a lot of the time. I will encourage you as a video coordinator, though, to always look at emerging technologies and emerging companies. One of the guys that I look up to and one of the colleagues in this industry is Mike Harkness. He's a longtime video guy, worked at Maryland for Coach Freeze, worked at Georgia Tech for years, now is at LSU. And he told me once, for him personally, there should never be a time when a coach comes to him and presents a pretty advanced software or pretty advanced system that he doesn't know about. So if you're a young video coordinator or a young GA, and you think that all you're going to do is sit in the back corner and chop up and cut film and kind of spin your wheel like a hamster, there are other things out there that you need to be continually growing and learning upon so that you can advance your program when that time comes to advance that level. I'll let these other guys kind of talk about other aspects and things that they use. But these, again, are just some of the core skills and software systems, if you will, that really play a vital role in and day out of a video coordinator.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead, Jacob. You good?
I was just going to say, on the screen, you see a lot of essentials. This is kind of the base of, the knowledge that you need, but really you got to be a jack of all trades. I mean, there's times where a coach could call you to install their stereo system at their house. There's time where you're installing a Ring doorbell for one of the assistants. So really for me, what has been a lifesaver for me is YouTube, because you can learn how to do anything on YouTube. And I think it's one of those things, like if you're trying to learn how to do these things, that's a good source, because you can learn almost anything on the internet. And another thing that helped me a lot in trying to become better at these things is reading, like Photoshop. I went and bought a how to do Photoshop for Dummies book at Barnes and Noble, which is clutch. If you don't have it, it'll definitely help you. But trying to become better and better at these things. What you see on the screen here, this is, if you become experts in these things or you really practice them, this is really going to help you out. And one thing I'll touch on, because Photoshop is on there and you have Adobe and stuff, graphic design is so big in college basketball and college sports right now. And if I was going to give some type of advice to you guys, I would say really hone in on that, because I'll give a shout out to a guy at Texas A&M. His name's Josh Chambers. You can find him on Twitter, but he's hired to do graphic design, and he's unbelievable. And that's definitely something that, is a trending thing in college basketball. So finding different ways to become experts at software and stuff like this will only help you down the road. And I'll pass it along to Josh.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to piggyback off of what you said, especially for Photoshop. And it depends on what level kind of you're at too. Because I know at some schools, you don't have to do it because there's a whole department for that. But that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't be well versed in it, because you never know when you're going to have to go to a place where, Photoshop or, anything, any type of Adobe packages, you're going to have to do something for it. I know that when I left Mississippi State as a video coordinator, come to Elon as a video coordinator. And that was a hard decision for me, really hard. And, some people don't really understand, but when I knew whenever I took this position to be with Coach Schrage, who I believe in, with obviously my life, because I picked up, everything that came here, is you got to be able to take on tasks that, you weren't necessarily doing at your other spot. You have to be able to know the ins and outs of PowerPoint and Microsoft Word, and the different aspects of Fast Model is incredible. Just Play is incredible. I've gotten a chance to use both. So just piggybacking off of what those guys said, you got to be able, like Jacob said, to be able to dip and dab in a little bit of everything. And like Ryan said, you got to be able to just know what's going on. There's play sight, there's key motion, there's all these things that, as video coordinators, that you have to be able to know enough about to be able to implement, and you have to be able to have relationships with those people who are able to help you get those different things in Shot Tracker, just a bunch of things that, for player development, because I think that the video coordinator side is also kind of leaned on from whoever's in charge of player development, or if you have a player development piece, I think that all those people and all those parts kind of work together. So, Synergy and Sport Code, Exos if you have it, or obviously, the top dogs, because, that's where all the video comes from, and you have to convert it over, and, it's all those skills and traits are really important.
Yeah, I think a prime example of kind of what we're talking about, keeping on your toes is like during this time. I hadn't heard of Zoom until like last month when all this stuff started. So I had to become an expert in Zoom. Didn't know anything about it, but I had to read up on everything. So you never know what's going to pop up, and you never know what the day is going to bring as far as technology. So you just got to kind of always be prepared.
Yep, for sure.
All right. So as we kind of continue to move on, we're going to touch on 3 different aspects, and we're going to kind of give everybody a little bit of an umbrella view, if you will, and how we assist the program as a whole, as we assist the staff, your coaching staff, and then we're going to finalize and finish off with how do we assist the actual players? How do you assist the players? And so starting with assisting the program, the biggest thing for me, and this is just my personal philosophy on this, is you got to understand your role. oftentimes I meet video coordinators around the country, and they don't do the little things that video coordinators, I guess, need to do. They had already, in their mind, they have already ascended to the level of assistant coach or head coach. And I think that's where you can run into some problems. I think you cannot have as well of an efficient video program when you're kind of thinking like a coach all the time, or you think you're a coach, or you think you have the authority of a coach. And so understanding your role as the video coordinator, I think is the number one way that you can serve and assist your program. I was doing some research as I was getting ready for this, and man, I tell you how blessed I am to be at Texas A&M with Coach Blair and his staff. The staff combined years of experience at Texas A&M women's basketball is 105 years of coaching experience. I have 7 years. I have 7. You know, it feels like a long time, but when you talk about the grand scheme of what this staff has seen and what they've been through and the successes, Coach Blair has won a national championship. He's taken 2 different programs to a Final Four. Bob Starkey has been to multiple Final Fours on the men's and women's side. You know, we just have an unbelievable staff. So for me, when I'm understanding my role, especially in staff meetings, you know, unless they ask for my opinion, I just want to sit there and soak up like a sponge. And if you're not doing that as a video coordinator, if you think that you know more than this person, or I would encourage you to take that mindset away. And when you're sitting in those staff meetings, man, soak everything up. You know, I personally feel like my job is to try and make the staff's lives easier when it comes to the world of coaches film. You know, I kind of have this funny saying that if I go through the day and all I do is get to talk basketball with my coaching staff and I don't have to talk technology with them, it's been a great day. You know, if you're able to manage that technology and make their lives easier to where it's just about basketball, I think you're finding success in your role. And I think that's how you can really assist the program. One thing I'm just going to touch on just real quick too is how do you assist the program? You know, we manage all aspects of technology. You know, it's not just the coach's film. One of the examples for me that was something new that I don't know if anyone else has had I enjoyed it, the pleasure of, we had a brand new facility renovation for our locker room. And in this day and age, technology is huge. And so I'm sitting in facility renovation meetings with contractors from companies, athletic directors, staff members. And so if I don't know what my role is for that project, you know, the success of that project, you know, may not be as successful as what we're looking for. And so I had to know what I was talking about. One thing I will encourage people at the video coordinator level, if you don't know, say you don't know, but you'll find out. I've run into more problems when I kind of pretend or say like, oh, I know, I got it. But when you don't know, you know, have the humility to say you don't know, but you'll find it out. And I think coaches will respect that. That's really kind of what I had on that, on assisting the program. Understanding your role really is the number one thing for me. You know, a lot of us aspire to get to that coaching level, but as of right now, you're not there yet. And so I would just encourage people who are young in the game to just soak up everything like a sponge, man. I know I have from our staff, and I know I have from the staffs previously that I've worked for. And so that's why I just want to encourage you guys with that. I'll have these other guys touch on some of this other stuff as well.
Yeah, I think so. For understanding your role and take pride in the brand, mine's kind of on very similar answers for both of these. And, you know, my role as far as assisting the program is I want to make our coaches look the best they can. And I want to help increase their brand in my role. And that's something at UCF is, you know, if you follow UCF, we're really big on our brand recognition. It's at an all-time high right now. And in my role, you know, one of my things that I do is help Coach Dawkins increase his brand on social media. You know, I help him out with community service stuff and clinics. and I want to make sure that, you know, stuff is filmed so I can keep it and help his brand as well. I think that's a big thing right now. I know several video coordinators that do the same thing, but, you know, we want to, you know, make our head coach, you know, get his name out there and do that kind of stuff. But as far as other things that we do, and UCF's really good at it, is the employees and athletes have just totally bought into representing, you know, our logo, our brand. And one thing that I like what we do in assisting, you know, our program and our university is, you know, during season, we try to attend, or during the whole school year, we try to attend as many sport games as we possibly can for other sports, and as a staff. And I think that's really good. And, you know, the fans and the community, they see that we're all supporting each other. And I think it's a great way, you know, to help increase your brand, and it's a great way to support the athletes, you know, in their sports. But, you know, I'm big on the brand stuff. You know, I try to get something out every day, whether it's Coach Dawkins clips from Duke, or sending our SID stuff to do for Twitter. Like today I sent our SID, I was brainstorming, hey, you know, it'd be really cool if we took all the charges we took from the season and put a highlight video and put it up on our Twitter. Because all this stuff is big branding stuff for the program, because it helps with recruiting, it helps with little stuff. So we took, I think, 63 charges this year as a team, which is pretty good. So what we're going to do is put together something like that, get it out on Twitter, and that helps our program. That shows, wow, they're built on toughness. They're built on doing the little things. So finding little things like that is something that's really good. So that's what I try to do in my role to assist the program. And as far as that goes, you know, I also try to go to donor events. You know, we do a chalk talk before every game, which we set up video for, and we try to, you know, give a game plan to donors and fans so they can kind of be behind the scenes. And I think all that stuff helps your program. For the people that may not know kind of what goes on with the staff, they see all that stuff. So just little things like that to help promote your brand, help promote UCF in the college that you're at. So I'll throw it on to Josh and see what he has to say.
Yeah. So Jacob and I we're kind of connected in a way. We were talking about this just last night, that my head coach, Coach Mike Schrage, who was at, you know, Duke for I think 8 years or 10 years with Coach Dawkins, and they went to Stanford together. So, you know, how we run our program and how UCF is run, it kind of has the same core values, you know, the Coach K type of values, which is, you know, incredible to be able to be a part of something like that. Super grateful. Coach Schrage always tells me and our ops guy, Tyler Lewis, a lot of you guys know Tyler, you know, played NC State, Butler, McDonald's All-American. You know, he always tells us that we are the lifeline of the program. Anything creative, anything that we can help to be able to be, you know, as we are the youngest ones, you know, to be involved with social media or the players or in community, you know, I think is really important. So some ways that, you know, I try to do that is just always be, you know, it's hard, but always be, you know, searching on Twitter, seeing what other people are doing, trying to come up with our own, you know, ideas to be able to put stuff out. What's funny that, you know, Jacob said about the charge, we hadn't talked about that. We had a guy take like 25 charges this year, our undersized 5-man. And, you know, we were going to, you know, do some stuff with that as far as graphics are concerned, you know, try to come up with different graphics and different stats with our SID to be able to put on our presentation for recruiting. And I think that one thing we haven't mentioned just yet, which we will right now, is I think the relationship that you have with your SID in this role is huge. And I think that, you know, you guys can piggyback off each other as far as information, you know, that is thrown out there on social media, Instagram, Twitter, stories. Coach Schrage is really like advanced as far as Twitter. I mean, he is, as you guys know, most head coaches, they are on Twitter. They see all that stuff going on. So he's really good at that. He's really good at his brand because he is, and I'm thankful that I get to learn from him. And I encourage you guys to understand and know this, that he is very like and there's a difference between promoting your brand and self-promoting. Like, so promoting your brand is you have stuff to promote. But Coach Schrage is not, like a self-promoter. So he promotes himself in a way and an image that he wants, which is, great. I'm grateful to be around that. But I know that Ryan was talking about his role as far as staff meetings and what we were talking about. And we want you guys to know, as far as if you're a GA or if you're a current video coordinator or manager or assistant coach, head coach, whoever, is listening on here, is that your video coordinator can have different roles. Like Ryan said, he sits in his meeting and he soaks up from Hall of Famers, which is absolutely what I have done before too at Mississippi State. I got just listen to Coach Ben Highland talk all the time. And it's like, you just sit there, you're like, where does he come up with this stuff? And you sit there and it would be, and it's not just once, it's every day. You're like, wow, I never thought of that. Even just in practice, you sit there and watch, you don't say anything. And I've been a part of that. And then, but Coach Schrage and Coach McCaslin and Coach Bellotto, who I worked for, are a little different. They want your input. They want you to, like, what do you think? Or what do you think the guys think? Or what do you think about this set? Because we talked about how, I get to be involved in scouting other teams' opponents, while some of us, like Ryan said, Ryan mentioned yesterday, he's involved with scouting, self-scout. So I get to, be involved into scouting in that way. And I think the role as it's defined by your head coach is really important for the head coaches that are tuning in, the assistant coaches that are going to be head coaches soon, or anybody. I think that defining the roles from a leadership standpoint is really important, because some people will just sit there in their office and say, I don't even know if I'm supposed to do this, or I don't know where I lie with this staff. The staff from video to ops assistants to everybody should know their impact on the program and what they're supposed to be doing. So I get to do, our graphics for recruiting and for our slides, and, some player development stuff as well. So I know we talked about taking pride, in the brand. We're trying to, for a school like Elon, that's not like Texas A&M or UCF, nobody knows really what this E is all about. And we try to make sure that our brand or the E or the Phoenix that we use is consistent with the graphics that we put on, so that people know and recruits know, like, this is what the E is. This is what Elon is. And, as a smaller school, unlike Mississippi State, you put the M out there, everybody knows. Or the Tiger for LSU when I was growing up, like, everybody knows what those are. But now when you're at a school like Elon, you got to really be able to promote. And that's why social media, especially during this time with the recruits and everybody's looking at social media, and that's all they have to do is everybody sitting at home on the computer on social media, just blasting stuff out there and trying to be super creative. Like Coach Schrage always tells me, we're the lifeline, of the program as far as being creative and advancing, not just, winning basketball games.
That's great stuff. I just want to touch very briefly here on the very end, and we're gonna kind of keep this thing moving. Man, time flies when you're talking video. But the golden rule, I think most people here know the golden rule. Do unto others as they would have them do unto you. For lack of a better term, we're at the bottom of the totem pole when you talk about a video coordinator. But really, in the entire program, there are some people that are underneath you in the fact of managers and GAs. And so, I want to take that golden rule and I want to kind of put it with a pay it forward mentality, because I know all three of us on this panel would not be where we are at today if a staff member didn't take a chance on us. And so I want to encourage people who are video coordinators or assistant coaches. I just want to encourage y'all to invest in those managers and GAs who are truly invested in the program. One of my greatest accomplishments that I stand by today is the fact that I was able to help a former manager get his foot in the door. He helped me out at Syracuse. He helped me out immensely with little things. And as you give these kids, these students, little things, and you begin to gain trust with them, by the end of the time that they leave your program, you can have them ready to step right into a video coordinator role. And so, really for me, that's my greatest accomplishment so far in my career, is being able to help those who need the help. Again, I wouldn't be where I am today, nor would my story be what it is today if people didn't take a chance on me. And so I just want to encourage y'all on here to really give those managers and GAs a chance. And I'm going to challenge any managers or GAs that are on here as well to meet those expectations or exceed those expectations. Video can weed people out real quick. I know when we first started as managers, there were a few of us that started, and it kind of whittled down to 1 or 2 people real quick. It's not for everybody, and it takes a different type of mentality. But if you as a professional will take that person kind of under your wing, just like you had when you were in that area, I think you can just really enhance your program, and you can really start to put people out in the industry. And so I just wanted to touch on that real briefly. I think we'll probably need to get moving to the next slide so we can start talking about how we assist our staff. And I think Josh or Jacob, you guys were gonna.
I think I had the different seasons.
Yeah, so I think Josh is going to talk about just kind of the different seasons different seasons of a video coordinator, if you will.
Yeah, sweet. And Jacob's got some awesome points on each staff is different. But different seasons. I think being, in video, I think that you have to be able to compartmentalize the different seasons, if you will, that are happening throughout each year. My life's always gone from season to season. So I want to just try to break it down to about 4 different areas or 4 different seasons that you can be in or that you're in as a video coordinator, and how to navigate each one really quickly. But obviously when you're in season, probably starts mid-October-ish. I'll start my year right now. So in the basketball season, mid-October to April, March. And that time is full out scout mode, probably either self-scout or opponent scout, and just being able to serve the assistants and the head coach in every way. Like my head coach now, incredible at film, blessed to have him. He likes to do, his own film, which is, unheard of really for most head coaches. So he does his film so we can focus on, the other aspects of opponent scout. And so we just kind of dive into that and really, really try to help each other out as far as, we kind of compartmentalize offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator type of deal. So that's really fun. But we have the in-season part, and then you have in April and June and July, as I piece the years, you have April, June, and July, which is when the coaches are going out. And I think the what's important whenever the coaches are gone is that you and the ops guy, depending on what level you're at, you might have more support staff positions. And if you're a manager or GA, you'll obviously be in this position as well, is that you're the guy whenever the coaches are gone. The guys are going to be leaning on you for whatever they would have to ask the assistant coaches to do. And it's your job to check in on the players, check in on class, check in to peek and see, when you're walking by if you're walking by the gym, maybe somebody's in there. Obviously you can't go in there with them in our role. But it's just your job to be, home base, if you will, whenever the coaches are gone. So whenever the season's in, you have your in season, and then you have when the coaches are out recruiting, which is right after season's over, and then the summer. And then before the season starts, it's official visit season is what, I like to call it. It's from that time from when football season starts, late August to around October, right before the in-season part, where you are probably working on sending graphics to recruits before their visit, having style of play and the recruiting presentation ready as unofficials and officials come, helping however you can with the official visits, because that's the most stressful time for the ops, which is food or tailgate or anything you could do in that regard to help the operations guy or anything involved with the visits. And I think that's really important. And the only other times of the year, so you got the official visit season goes to in season, then it goes to all around the year, June, July, January, February, March, April, and then you got May. And I think that May and August for video coordinators, and especially in the summer when the assistant coaches are out recruiting, is time to get ahead. And I think that the time that you could spend making title slides or downloading certain games or just taking some time to be able to get your graphics ready or anything in that regard is really, really important to try to stay ahead. Because the name of the game in the video coordinator life is you got to stay ahead and you got to be ready. And you don't want to take time to be able to have to make slides or be able to take time to have to create a template or download these pictures for this scout or, just different things like that. I think the different seasons are important. And obviously the most important season for me growing up and for me now, I just got married on Sunday, is the time in May that you get and the time in August that you get are really, really important for family. And if you have children, whenever you do have them, you got to take time for yourself, man. Like, you can't just let this whole thing consume you. The time that you get in May and the time that you get in August, as we were talking about, I think are really important. So those 4 seasons, you got like, whenever school starts, it's like official visit season. Then it goes into end season. Then it goes into, coaches go on the road. Then you have the May period where you get a break. Then the coaches are gone again. And that time in the summer is a really good time to prepare, for the season, download games, title slides, different things like that. I think you have to compartmentalize in what you do in those seasons to prepare for the next one.
Yeah, so I'll kind of take over on each staff is different, and we kind of touched on it earlier as far as your role in the staff. But the fun thing about being on staff and each staff being different is you learn a lot of different things, because like me, I've worked on 3 different staffs and every one of them's been different in how we do things with film. And so one staff I was on, we still use VHS tapes. One staff, we still use DVDs. And the staff I'm on now, we're all computer, hard drive, technology like that. So it kind of varies per head coach how you do it, but you just kind of got to be ready for anything. And for me, I was with Coach Jones at the time. We were all DVD. And, when Coach Dawkins came in, I didn't really know a lot about, hard drives and the way we were doing it with TV feeds and all that stuff. I had to learn all that stuff like in a day. So you never know what's going to pop up as far as your staff that you get hired on or that you're on. So, sometimes you have an assistant leave at the end of the year and you bring in a new assistant who likes, something totally different. And you got to totally adapt. That's the fun part about video, is you always have to adapt. Yes. The staff I'm on now, as far as my role, is kind of like what Josh talked about. And I'm really lucky with Coach Dawkins, is he comes from an amazing culture, where he always preaches that a good ideal can come from anyone. Coach Dawkins, if a manager comes up with an ideal that is really good, we'll do it. So he has no ego. He's all about success. Whatever we got to do to be successful. If it's the manager that comes up with the ideal, he's going to do it. If he believes in it and we believe in it. One thing with our staff is we meet every day. And always an hour before practice. And our communication, our terminology, we try to be as precise as possible. And that helps out a video coordinator so much when the communication is clear and precise and you always know what you're kind of doing. I've been on staffs where we didn't meet every day. We were just given a practice plan. That works. Like I said, you have to adapt. But the way Coach Dawkins does it, it's unbelievable. I feel like I'm never unprepared, because I'm always prepared in those moments, because we communicate very clearly how we're going to do things that day and what to expect. And if there's ever any changes, it's not like last second, because we're in the meeting. We always watch through our scout tape. We always watch through our practice film that we're about to show. We're always making adjustments. So, like I say, each staff is different in that way. Your role is going to be completely different from one staff to the other. You kind of never know what to expect. But that's what makes video coordinating fun. I mean, that's what makes it fun. And it's fun for me as far as, because our jobs, we work with the assistants mostly as far as scouting goes, and develop great relationships with those assistants because you're spending a ton of time with them. And that's one thing, I've been really lucky is each guy has been very kind of like a mentor, and it's always fun because everybody comes from a different path. So in our positions, to absorb knowledge, for an example, when I was a GA, Sean Finney had won a national championship at Kentucky with Tayshaun Prince and that team. I believe it was, I forget what year it was.
Saul Smith was on that team too, I think.
Yeah, so just hearing experiences from that, make sure you're asking those guys questions when you're doing that about their history and stuff. Like a guy I work for now, Kevin Norris, the all-time leading steals at Miami, took him to 2 tournaments. So finding different ways to really get to know your staff and creating really good relationships with them is a great thing about this position. I'll pass it along to Ryan. I know he's got some good stuff on offering a helping hand.
Yeah, I want to just give a little bullet point that I have for touching on each staff is different. When I transitioned from Syracuse to Texas A&M, we had 2 completely different systems. At Syracuse, we were pressing for 40 minutes. We were shooting as many threes as we could. We were trying to increase points per possession as much as we could. We were trying to create margins in certain areas, whether that's offensive rebounding margins, turnover margins, 3 margins. Then I come to Texas A&M, where Hall of Famer Coach Gary Blair has won over 800 games with more of a slow down half court. We're going to run some sets. We're going to look for mismatches. And so understanding that every staff is different is a key piece to being a good video coordinator. So the 3 things that I had when I first came to Texas A&M was I wanted to look at what are they doing now? What have they done previously, maybe at other places, that they aren't implementing here? And then the third thing that I looked at was what can I bring to the table that will take this next level? So again, when you become a new video coordinator, or you're a GA and you're in charge of your team's video, I would go and meet with your coaching staff and again, see what they're doing right now that they're having success with, that you can continue. What are some things that they've maybe done at other places that you can implement, that you have the ability to implement? And then 3, what do you have that you've picked up along your journey to bring to that coaching staff? So I think those are 3 good points on coming into a staff and understanding that each one is different.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that I just had here for offering a helping hand, it's a little bit of a pivot off of this thing, but I'm really big on helping other people within the athletic department, and building strong relationships with those people. If you're a video coordinator and you don't know your football video coordinator, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to that person and start to build a relationship. It's no shocker that college football, makes the money and they have more resources than we do. So if you're ever in a bind and you ever need help, if you don't have anybody on your campus to call in a time, a tripod breaks or a camera goes out, or you're traveling the next day and your projector doesn't work, I would strongly encourage you to know your men's video coordinator if you're on the women's side, or vice versa, and also reach out to other people. If volleyball has a person who handles video, collaborating with them. And then I would take that even one step further. If you're a video coordinator or a GA, or you're a coach who's looking to enhance their video, are you helping your strength coach out? Are you willing and able, when your strength coach asks you to film a workout for them so that they can get better at what they do, and going back and reviewing certain things, whether that's sprints, whether that's, get offs, whether that's footwork, what are you doing to help out the other people that are within your program? I've helped out our strength coach when I was at Syracuse. I've helped out our strength coach while I was here at Texas A&M, along with our athletic training staff as well. Are you dependable by other staff entities to help them? And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, because it's only human nature to want to make sure that you're pleasing your boss or the people who are immediately above you. And the fact of the matter is there's other people on staff that you can assist and help. And so I think that's just something to keep in mind. If you're a GA or a video coordinator, you know,
Sure.
don't just help just your staff. If you got extra time and you need, and you want to, you know, continue to build your network and really build your worth, you know, offer a helping hand to other staff members, especially.
Serve, man.
Yeah.
It's all serve. Just like Ryan saying, man, you got to be able to willing to serve, willing. Will have a servant and willing's heart. Sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Absolutely not.
But I think that, man, if you're not willing to serve in this role, you know, as you try to climb the coaching ranks, you're gonna need help from the new technology, from the video coordinator one day too. You know, and you're gonna need help from other people. So I just think as you're in this role, you gotta be able and want to serve. Like when I was at Arkansas State, you know, I would always just go into the senior women's administrator. Her name's Amy Holt. Changed my life. I would just go sit in her office and sit there and just try to help her with her deal. She was like, if you want to be an intern for me and Terry or AD, I was like, sure. So I did my internship with them. When I was a GA, you know, obviously the GA grind is totally different. And I didn't have a place to live. She was like, you're moving in with me. You're staying with me all year. So whenever, like that's just a story of like, if you try to help and serve people like Ryan and Jacob were saying, if you just try to help people, I know we're getting on time, but you never know what the opportunities will be able to come back full circle.
Absolutely. So kind of moving towards the final part of the segment, if you will, you know, we talked about how you assist the program in a whole, how you assist your staff. And then, you know, now we're getting to the lifeblood of the program with our players, and how do we as video coordinators assist the players? There's some NCAA rules that don't necessarily allow us to do certain aspects. So we kind of have to maneuver and understand our roles and what we can do. And so I'm going to let Jacob and Josh go ahead and take this
Sure.
with how they assist the players. And then I'll kind of close around on the backside.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll kind of give a couple nuggets kind of some little things we do in our program that I believe are really, really good. You know, the biggest thing for our players that I want to do is I want to make sure to try to set them up for success on and off the court. So on the court, the biggest thing that we try to do is give them enough film of other players and themselves to obviously so they can get better and use film in that kind of way. So we do a lot of videos at UCF as far as teaching reads for our point guards, teaching footwork, stuff like that to really help develop them. I don't want to go into too much detail on that, but you know, in different parts of the season, we do different things in development. Over the summer right now, obviously with everything going on right now, it's a little bit different. But a usual summer for us, we do something that I really love in implementing our offense and making sure that our players have, you know, skill development drills that they do is, you know, we put together this book for each player with different workouts that will include actions of our offense, our system. That's one of my favorite things that we do. And, you know, not only that, we film our grad managers doing it, and we send it to our guys. And I think that's one thing that we do to really help develop them. And on the video portion, I'll talk more about kind of life stuff. You know, every summer we try to get our guys to read a book as a team. You know, we really want them to, you know, get better off the court as well. We're big on academics. You know, we want them to be successful in everything they do. So those are some little things we do as far as development stage. I think, you know, our staff, we do a great job of making sure guys come in and watch film during the season. You know, we want them to, you know, be able to know the weaknesses on the other team that we're about to play. So we do a really good job of showing that to our guys. You know, as far as scouting goes, we watch a ton of video. So I won't go off on the development thing, you know, anymore, but encouragement for me is huge with our players. an example, we had a shooter this year that was kind of having a little shooting slump. And, the fun thing about our jobs is, players come in and just sit down and want to talk. They just want to talk. So, I had a guy that came in and just was like, hey, I'm feeling kind of down. I'm just going to chill right here. And, we get into like a 3-hour conversation, and, you need to spread that positivity to your players. That's my one thing, is I always just try to be so positive. So what I ended up doing with this player is his position coach, I gave him film of previously in his career of him just making shots, so he could visualize him actually hitting shots. And the kid ended up, I think either the next game or the next game, he ended up, being one of our best players this year, shot up to 40% from three and really got it going. So, players love positivity. They got enough negative thoughts. They generate them themselves. They get them from other places. So we're that, positivity, energy that they need. I'll kind of let you guys kind of talk about that more.
For sure. I know the time is coming short, but I just wanted to, talk about just a little bit about the encouragement, like what you were saying, because, which is awesome that you did that. One of our assistants at Mississippi State did the same thing for Quindary Weatherspoon and took him completely out of his slump. That is incredible, Jacob. That's awesome. But I just think for encouragement and just bringing energy, like as far as assisting the players, all you can really do in this role is bring energy and be available. Just like what those guys were saying. If you're available, I sit in my office after practice, or I sit in my office all day, just in case somebody comes up. Just in case, like I always answer their phone calls. And I think one thing that we do a really good job here at Elon is our head coach obviously is in a whole mind frame of his own. As everybody knows, head coach is different. But our assistants and our support staff, we're like super tight. Like we all hang out, we all text all the time individually, we all talk all the time. So whenever we have an off day, we all go eat with our managers. We don't have any GAs, but we go eat with our managers. Our players are always in there. We know they're going to be in there. We always go to lunch with them. We always go over to the cafeteria for dinner with them. It'll be our whole team in there with us, and we're just sitting in there for 2 hours, and we lose track of time. We're in there cutting up, having fun. I think that's what, at the end of the day, that's how you can impact and be, encouragement in them. Because whenever you get into the game and they come out, like you can't tell them about basketball. You got to love on them. That's what those guys, they're away from home. They want to be loved. They want to have, a sense of security in you. And I think that's really important as far as helping develop them, that they know that they have someone that loves them, that cares about them, that they can trust and believe in. Because, some and most kids come from a really tough place. Now here at Elon, it's a little different, but I've been at places where kids have come from, had to play a game the next day after his best friend got shot in the head 5 times. Just to be really clear. And so it's really, you got to be able to just love and encourage those guys during the game and have just great communication with them. I try to talk to our guys every day or every other day during this deal, just text them, see what they're doing. But I think as long as you just love on those dudes, I learned, from Coach Stragi here, who loves our guys. And I learned from Coach Howland, who's obsessed with every player on our team, that it consumes him. And from Coach McCaslin, who is also, a very strong believer in his own heart. He loves those guys like no other. And so I think that loving and serving and believing, those guys believing in you results in wins. I believe that to my core, man. Those dudes love you. You show them that you love them, and you encourage them that they'll run through a brick wall for you, and you will win more games because of it. It's way past X's and O's. It's way past skill. They just play hard for you in the program. So as far as encouragement development, that's what I got for that.
Perfect.
I know we're running.
Let me just kind of touch on a few things with this. I had to encourage more. And that as we three were building this presentation, we kept coming back to this. And if you're not encouraging from your position as either a GA or a video coordinator, then I strongly encourage you to change that mindset. You're not a disciplinarian, and this is my opinion. Head coaches and assistant coaches are the ones that need to do that, and that's their job and that's their responsibility. And this kind of goes back, tying into what we talked about at the very start, is understanding your role. And so, I try to encourage our kids, whether it's greeting them every time you come into a contact with them, making eye contact, asking them genuinely how they are doing. I try to make as many off-season workouts that I can, whether it's a 6 a.m. mile run that they're doing. I'm standing on each corner, I'm running across the field, not doing any coaching. You can't do any coaching, but to sit there and really encourage your kids, I think can take it can just take your job, your role, your lifestyle, everything to that next level.
No doubt.
And so
You're
again,
exactly right.
if you're not encouraging your players, man, I strongly encourage you to do that. One thing that I would just touch on here as well is making film easily accessible to your players. I know not everybody within their budgets has iPads or cloud systems and things that players can get to. I just want to encourage y'all, assisting the players, making film as readily available to them as possible, whether that's making sure that they can have a hard drive if they just need to get the game files, or if you're uploading it to iPads, whether you're using, some kind of iPad system, just easily accessible film to your players, I think is a growing trend that needs to be, addressed. And then one thing for me, at the very end of the season, or actually at the very end of their career, is helping to promote our players to that next level. Whether that's building them highlight videos, whether that's pulling specific clips, whether that's getting film to them so then they can get it to their agents. If you have the mindset that you're just here to serve them for 4 years, and then once their time is done and their eligibility is up, they're out the door, see you later. That's a wrong mindset to have. You need to do everything you can to help your players, especially if they're wanting to try to get overseas or if they're trying to make it to the league. Film is the lifeblood to that next level. Without the film, agents won't be able to promote their kids. Teams won't be able to evaluate what kind of kids or what kind of player they are. So again, at the end of the season, don't brush your seniors off just because they're no longer a part of the program, and do everything you can to help and assist those players. And so that's what I would just encourage y'all to do. Man, it's crazy. An hour and 15 minutes has already flown by. And I just want to thank everybody who stayed on this call with us. I've seen some names, some people, some colleagues that I highly, highly respect. And it's just been this has been a blessing for me to meet these two guys. I didn't know any of them before this. And, we've been knocking ideas off of each other for the last few days. And, man, it's just been a blessing. This guy is not like this at all. And I'm going to give him a shout out. And Jan, if you guys aren't following.
There he goes.
Well, I think we lost him, but yeah, I'm sure he'll come back on.
Social media coaches film. So if you guys are out
he's
there
back.
and you're on Twitter right now, man.
Hey, Ryan, we lost you for about 30 seconds.
Oh, well, that's
You said-
a bummer. I was giving your Twitter a shout out, man.
Oh, I thought you were giving
Uh,
Josh one.
Yeah.
Nah, that's the joy
No.
of technology, right?
Yeah,
I
it's,
know,
it's,
I was just saying, I just wanted to thank everybody for being on here. We're going to try to get to some questions here in a second. But I was just saying that, man, it was a blessing to get to know these two guys that I've been on the talk with. And I was promoting, which Jacob's not a promoter of himself. If you're not following Jacob on Twitter, guys, Jay Emmerman on Twitter, he is really great at blending social media and coaches film together. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that we got a few sets from some of the things that he puts in, a lot of special situations, a lot of deep dives into NBA, WNBA film, just a really good follow. So I guess for these next few minutes, we'll kind of go ahead and if we can't get to your questions, I apologize. We're going to go ahead and just kind of start. See, when making creative video clips for promos, social media, what software do we use? I think these guys touched on it a little bit. Adobe Suite is huge, whether that's Photoshop or whether that's Adobe Premiere. I know some people can get in depth with Final Cut.
iMovie's easy too. If you're in a pinch and you need to do it right away, iMovie's pretty easy.
Nice.
Yep, iMovie's easy, super easy. I even use iMovie on my phone because I got the one of the iPhones, like the new iPhone.
Yeah, same.
I can get the MP4, AirDrop it to my phone, put a title on it, and good as gold. Yeah, so I would use that.
Let me answer this one. This was anonymous. You pretty much talked about everyone who is attending college. I haven't had the opportunity yet, so is there still a chance for me to get started as a video coordinator? I don't have the money for college. I'm working as a personal trainer. What suggestions could you give to a person like me? This is a really good question. You know, a lot of people are in this boat. You know, they're trying to break into college, and the thing I would suggest is you really need to get your name to these coaches. So some really great things you could do, and especially during the summer, is try to work as many college camps as possible. You know, that kind of gets your foot in the door a little bit where you can have those conversations and you can create the relationships. Like for me, when I was working camps, I did that route too. You know, there's a lot of people you meet within the camp. Like for me, there was a kid, Chase Goldstein, who's now the ops at Cleveland State. You start meeting
big time guy.
You start meeting other young guys that want to do the same thing you want to do. So you increase your network. You meet really good people. I think that's one thing that you can do that'll really help you. And because you're not going to college, you could also find ways to get into a practice or two. You'd be surprised if you just email a coach and just say, "Hey, I'd love to swing by to watch practice."
Absolutely.
They usually try to make it happen, and that's a good thing to sit there and take down notes. And then at the end of the practice, I'm sure the coach will come over and you have some questions ready or whatever. But those are two easy things you can do that kind of help you get your foot kind of in the door. Hope that helps.
Let's see, one of these was, how do you show appreciation to the managers and GAs that help you every day? One thing that I try to do if a manager or a GA is really invested in helping me is, I don't even know if this is against the rules or not, but whatever. I give them my per diem for when we're on the road. So,
I don't think it is.
I
don't think that is.
We get $24 for a trip or something like that. I immediately sign for it and I hand it over to our manager or GA because I understand, one, they're not getting paid. And two, it's just a way to show them appreciation. A meal here and there. I know Josh talked about going to meals and having that fellowship and that camaraderie. Anytime you can throw a pizza party for the managers, if they're doing, late night equipment stuff, or it's the night before camp. And I know managers out there, if it's the night before camp, you're probably not getting much sleep. So any kind of food, any kind of monetary, a little, and you can help with. That's at least how I try to help out our managers and GAs.
One of the questions, I know we don't have much time left, but what are some different projects aspiring video coordinators can do to help market themselves to coaches without having access to sport code? I think that's a great question. I think that if you don't have access to sport code, I know they can give you a free trial. Don't quote me on that for sure, but I think you can get a trial for that for your Mac. But also, I think just trying to help serve the current staff that you're on. I think it's hard whenever you're trying to just learn sport code, because I think not every program has sport code. You don't want to just focus on learning sport code. You want to focus on if you have Synergy, you want to focus on that. If you have Exos, you want to focus on that. But whenever you said different aspects to aspiring video coordinators who can help market themselves to coaches, I think the hardest part is I know you have to have your own brand, but I think that the coaches that you work for can market for you as well, as far as your work ethic, as far as if you're a worker, if you want to, if you have attention to detail, or if you have good time management, like the things we talked about. I think that your staff, your current staff, can help you in that regards and market you towards someone that does have sport code. Say you get access to sport code. I know that whatever video software you're using now, if you're great at it, then sport code you'll be able to navigate sport code whenever you just get to that. But I think that, just currently investing in where you're at now will set you up to be able to learn sport code by using the ways that you guys do video now, if that makes sense. Hope that helps and didn't get too confusing. So
I think we still got, what, 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, I see one. Somebody wrote down, for someone who wants to learn about video but isn't familiar with it, what programs would you recommend? They're going to replay this. You may have came in late, but we mentioned some. The thing with becoming good at video, and this is how, I did it, was, a lot of reading, a lot of finding YouTube videos. But the main thing that really helped me is just practicing on it and, trial by error. I mean, you're gonna have mess ups. You're gonna have to just work through it and figure it out, and just a lot of reading on how to do it. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of the best thing I can do. And somebody else asked about Photoshop, same thing. If you really want to learn at it, I would reach out to somebody, go through colleges that have graphic designers on their staff, reach out to them, ask them how they started. And YouTube video for Photoshop is what taught me. And I bought the Photoshop for Dummies book. It's going to take stuff like that to get better at it. You're going to have to sacrifice some of your time to hone in on it. Photoshop is a big trial by error thing too. You just got to mess with it. Just like anything in life. I mean, you just got to try it until you get pretty decent at it. But I hope that helps.
Piggyback off what Jacob said just a little bit. I think all three of us were in the same position. We all started off with Synergy and Sport Code and Photoshop, with downloading the app and just looking at it and being like, all right, what's next? And that's how I started. I didn't know anything about Sport Code till, I just started playing with it. So just piggybacking off of you, Jacob, I just want to reiterate, you just gotta keep working at it.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I'll say to kind of finalize a little bit of that is a lot of these companies, if you get your foot in the door with that job, a lot of these companies, if not all of these companies, do unbelievable trainings with you. I know Sport Code, I know Exos. They will bring people onto your campus, have 48 hours where you just sit in your video office and you can pick their brain, and they can show you different workflow that other people use. And that was huge for me, because when I was at Syracuse, we used Exos for basketball. And then when I moved back to Texas A&M, we use Sports Code. And though I think at the end of the day, you can get some of the final product the same, they are very different in how you interact with them. And so getting that training is huge, especially during the off season. One of the questions I have, it says, I've heard about GAs and student managers. I've been working as a practice player. Love our practice players. I manage those guys for the last 3 years. Should I follow the same route? So what I would do if you're a practice player specifically, man, I would just continue to network with your coaching staff. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that your coaching staff knows other people around the country that could help you get a GA role or, something like that. But even furthermore, going from your coaching staff, man, if you have 30 minutes a day that you can hop into your video coordinator's office and start to learn some basics, how to download games, how to import games. Yeah. Those are some basic things that are so essential to the role of the video coordinator, that once you learn some of those things, you can kind of pick up the other things as they come. So if you're a practice player and you don't have that experience in the office, like a manager or a GA, I would encourage you to try to find time to meet with your video coordinator, to meet with your director of operations, to try to gain that knowledge. So then when you go into an interview process, you're not completely unarmed. You'll have some ammo to kind of say, I was a practice player, so I know a lot of the on-court stuff, but over the last year, I've taken some serious time and dedication and sacrifice to learning, what it takes to be a video coordinator. So I think
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's about it. Again, I just want to thank everybody for hopping on here. I want to thank a step up, getting to know Johnny and Felicia these last few weeks has just really.
There they are.
Hey guys, why don't you
Continuing to
answer,
network,
why
and
don't you
I
guys
just
answer
can't
3 more
thank them
questions?
Yeah,
enough.
you can take a
Okay.
few more questions if you have them out there.
I'll take
Oh.
I'll take one right now. Let's see. What are the keys to being a good video coordinator in your program? How can you add value every day in your role? One small thing that I try to do is I try to kind of forget, I complete a project and then I forget the success of it. I'm always moving on to the next thing. And I think that's kind of in our roles is a lot of times you're not going to get a good job or wow, you did a really good job of this. You just got to keep moving. There's always something that pops up. So you have to stay present and you just have to. So you gotta be willing to just keep moving on to that next thing, and realize that on that way, you're moving towards success in that season. You just got to always stay present. I hope that helps.
There's one here during the off season now. What are you guys doing to get better your craft as a video coordinator? Great question, especially during this time. I think that you got a lot of time, and I think that the ways, at least that I'm doing to try to perfect my craft as a video coordinator, I'm going through all of our players' makes from last year, kind of organizing them as far as, for the guards, side ball screen, middle ball screen, just different ways that they're scoring. That's helping me also get the video playbook for our head coaches, for our head coach and the staff, so they can navigate as we, show recruit film and stuff, and just to have for our playbook so coach can go back and look through that. Going to go back through practices as well, get our practice drills database, working on our recruiting presentation, working on, our style of play stuff as far as, when I'm breaking down the film, and then whatever, Coach Schrage and our staff needs. I think the thing that I learned the most so far, the best thing I've learned so far being in college basketball, it's all about who you work for. I don't think that, anything else really matters, because if you're not working for someone who you believe in, if you're not working for what they believe in or how they run their program, you're not really going to be all in. You're not going to be able to really help. So I've worked for, some awesome coaches who I really believe, who I've always believed in, all 4 of them, and played for a coach who I believed in. So, as long as you believe in what they want you to do, and you're doing different things to get prepared, like those things I said, I think you're making your time well as you stay at home and be safe. So, yeah.
I can answer one more. Unless Ryan, you got one you want to answer?
Well, I was going to say, similar to what Josh just said, a thing that I've been working on specifically this offseason is I'll go through every one of our offensive sets from the season. Yep. And I'll go in and I'll sort whether it was a great execution, a good execution, or a bad execution. And then from there, when you are able to sort and move things to an organizer or a sorter, you can create your video playbooks, your digital playbooks for your players, for your coaching staff. So I think it's really just a matter of diving into the film and taking it wherever you want that film to take you. And I think that's the biggest thing of video coordinators during this time is, what can you bring that maybe the staff didn't see this season? Maybe we were really, really good at running a certain aspect of horns against a sagging man-to-man.
Right.
But we didn't have the time or just didn't see it during the season. But man, you see it now. You see it now in the off season. So just deep dives into film, I think is the biggest way that you can enhance your off season.
Scouting other teams that play like you offensively and defense too, where I'm about to start doing tomorrow. So that's also a good way to, try to see what other teams are doing. But yeah, that's all we got.
Nice.
Sweet, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Johnny and
Think-
Felicia, y'all still on here? I just don't
Mostly.
want to.
There you go.
Hey, you guys, I think we have about 2:28, so great
2:28.
job. And I know that there are some other questions that are there. And you all had your email addresses posted up, so if anybody wants to ask any further questions, they can certainly do that.
Come on.
There are those email, and then the other thing we'd like to ask you to do is tweet us. If you tweet us and ask your question, we can make sure that the guys get it and they may be able to respond to those.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal
For
job, Jacob, Ryan, Josh. Man, we really appreciate that. And I know our listeners appreciate you dropping some knowledge on them. So you are now a part of the Step Up family. And so we really appreciate that. We look forward to connecting with you guys as maybe even joining our logistics team.
I think that I was talking to a couple of coaches who were calling me during the session and texting saying, these video coordinators are dropping a lot of really good knowledge. So great job, guys. I knew that this would be a panel that would create a lot of synergy. Outstanding.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that we let you know that if any staffs out there might have missed this, you want to get the replay for it, you need to have the all access pass. It's only $20 for all of the power talks. And then if you want to go back to check out replays, it's a $40, I think, unlimited for a year access pass.
But guys, thank you again.
Thank
Stay
you for having
tuned.
us.
Tomorrow,
Thank
we've
you.
got a big day coming up tomorrow, Wednesday. Starting at 11 o'clock, we have Shaka Smart from Texas. His topic is going to be the power of mentorship, player and staff development from the inside out. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be a powerful session. For our panel tomorrow, we have Dr. Mari. Now, if you're attending Step Up or heard about Step Up, one of the most powerful sessions that we had in that lineup in 2019 was when we had the mental health specialist talking with the player and listening to the dynamic of how, from a professional perspective, it plays out and interacting with your teammates and with the coaches. So you don't want to miss Dr. Mari tomorrow.
Dr. Mari works with a number of different teams, and she also worked with coaching staffs around the whole mental health piece. And she's going to be talking about mental health essentials. We know that you all are not able to access your players right now, but that doesn't mean any mental health concerns or problems that they have or issues go away. In fact, sometimes they're heightened or exacerbated. So we want to make sure that you get to hear real talk for real coaches and staffs that are working with student athletes with Dr. Mari Ross Alexander.
And our third speaker tomorrow, and closing out the day for tomorrow, will be Kelly Graves, University of Oregon. I'm sure you guys saw a lot about his team and about one of his key players.
One of his key players, Sabrina, was highlighted on ESPN. I think almost every time they had a game, she was the Naismith Player of the Year. He had 3 WBCA All-Americans on one team. And Kelly's going to talk about his blueprint, or the blueprint for building a championship culture. So you do not want to miss tomorrow. Tomorrow, in order to participate, you have to have the all access pass. So get your golden ticket, and we look forward to seeing you. Ryan, Jacob, Josh, thank you for winning the day. We
Appreciate you
all
guys.
3 of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Hey,
all so
we're
much.
out.
Hashtag a Step Up Power Talk.